Hi, I'm Daniel, and in this video I'm going to review for you the Classics Illustrated edition of the Aeneid. As you know, the Aeneid is a Latin epic poem by Virgil, written around 25 BC. This Classics Illustrated adaptation is based on John Dryden's translation of the Aeneid, published in 1697. I think the choice of the translation works very well, as John Dryden's translation is in itself a classic. If you're not familiar with it, I can show you the first few verses. Perhaps you cannot read them, but I can recite from memory for you. Arms and the men I sing, who, forced by fate and haughty Juno's unrelenting hate, expelled and exiled, left the Trojan shore. Then you can see that some lines are skipped. This is an adaptation after all. Then it continues. O Muse, the causes and the crimes relate, etc. So you may notice these are heroic couplets. There have been other translators who translated the Aeneid into heroic couplets, like Christopher Pitt and Charles Simmons, but their performances are generally inferior to John Dryden's, even though they came after him. What is missing from this Classics Illustrated adaptation is what, to my mind, makes Virgil a great poet, and that is his pathos. Let me give you two examples of this. The first is when Aeneas is in Carthage and he notices painted on a temple wall scenes from the Trojan War. Then in this adaptation he thinks, even here the monuments of Trojan woes appear. But what is missing is the next line, which is perhaps the most celebrated line in the whole Aeneid, and that is in Robert Fagle's translation. The world is a world of tears, and the burdens of mortality touch the heart. An even more illustrative example, if you pardon the pun, is the love of Dido and Aeneas, which in this comic book adaptation is reduced to just one page. That's all. This is my favorite part of the Aeneid, but I understand that the inner world of emotions does not lend itself well to the comic book format. Before I move on, let me show you the last panel of this page, which I want to read for you as it shows how they adapt John Dryden's translation. So Aeneas is thinking, I fear the stormy soul of womankind. This is slightly modified from John Dryden's translation. And then the last line, how capable they are of death for love. In Virgil's poem, Aeneas may see from afar the glow from the burning pyre upon which Dido stabbed herself, but Aeneas doesn't know that Dido killed herself. So later when Aeneas goes into the underworld, in book 6 of the Aeneid, and finds there the ghost of Dido, he's surprised. And there we can see the genius of Virgil. As you know, Virgil was inspired by Homer, who in his Odyssey also takes his hero Odysseus into the underworld. And there Odysseus meets the ghost of Ajax, who feels wronged by Odysseus. So when Odysseus tries to talk with him, Ajax ignores him, simply turns away and doesn't say any word. Similarly, when Aeneas sees the ghost of Dido in the underworld, he tries to talk with her and apologizes to her, says that he left her not of his own free will, but Dido simply turns away and doesn't say anything. So Virgil used the episode from book 11 of the Odyssey to greater effect in the Aeneid. Now let me show you the culmination of the Aeneid and the power of John Dryden's translation. And that is when the Sibyl instructs Aeneas on hell, the underworld. So you can see here the words. Maybe you cannot read them, but I can recite them for you first in Latin. Facilis descensus averno, notes atque dies pateta triano aditis, sed revocare gradum superasque evadere ad auras, hoc opus hic labor est. And in John Dryden's translation, the gates of hell are open night and day, smooth the descent, and easy is the way. But to return and view the cheerful skies, in this the task and mighty labor lies. That can be applied to many things. For example, it's easy to start smoking, but it's very difficult to quit. A great merit of this adaptation is the clarity of the plot. If you just read the Aeneid in an English translation, or in a translation into any other tongue, if you are like me, you may not be able to fully understand what's happening. So I can highly recommend this Classics Illustrated edition as a starting point, which will enable you to better enjoy the original poem. And as the Classics Illustrated edition says at the end, now that you have read the Classics Illustrated edition, why not go on to read the original version to get the full enjoyment of this classic work? So I'm happy to recommend the Classics Illustrated Aeneid. Hope you enjoyed this video.